on your number one independent radio station. Now, something that has been trending is the pilots of an aircraft whose license has allegedly been suspended. No, I think allegedly shouldn't be. I think it has indeed been suspended. There has been an official release that a license has been suspended, and it's a female pilot. We don't have very many of them in this part of the world.
Yeah.
So, did she do something wrong? I believe she did.
Yeah, she was at fault.
I believe she did something wrong.
Yeah.
But she didn't just wake up out of the blues to do something wrong. Something happened. Now, from reports that we have gotten, there was a bit of an altercation between her and a certain artist. They say it's Kwam One. Okay, and then of course, from the story, it was alleged that the gentleman had substances. Now, how he beat airport security with that substance to get to the point of boarding before someone raised an objection is what I do not understand. So, in all fairness, it should not be the license of this pilot alone. It shouldn't be the license, the pilot alone that should get the axe.
Actually, I feel
a lot of people
shouldn't even be the one getting the axe at all.
Well, she did violate aviation protocols. Now, the thing is, for you to leave where you're parked with an aircraft, you need clearance. Because the truth is, without that clearance, you are endangering the lives of the people on board. And what if there was incoming aircraft that was landing? What if there was an aircraft that had taxied and was about to take off and there's a collision? That's where I fault the pilots. That's the only place I fault the pilots. But when you look at, Oluwaye of Fuji, a man that is highly respected. I mean, just barely a few days ago, there are videos of him. How young he was when he started purchasing luxury cars. You would start to ask yourself, what sort of luxury has he not tasted? What content could be in that bottle that he couldn't afford to let go? Like, which kind of drink did the bottle that? Because it was alleged to be alcoholic content and such not allowed on board aircraft. I think anywhere in the world.
Yeah, this way. You don't start it when you're too used to something and it gets too much, you tend to not know how to control yourself in that situation.
When you're rich and famous,
Almost.
that idea of, do you know who I am?
We shock you like kind.
Which is very, very popular in Nigeria. Do you know who I am?
Do you know my age?
I'm the friend of the friend of the friend of the president.
And the friend might not even know who you are.
Do you know who I am? I think that was what was at play. It takes me back to those days and when we used to. I spent how many years in Unilag? I did not sleep one night on campus. I was going from the house, and on days where I couldn't afford to drive myself, we had to board a bus. Even days I have to drive myself. There is this part around Mada Barracks, around the Yaba axis. There's always this traffic light activity, and immediately the traffic light stops you. You'll see how some of our brothers from the northern part of Nigeria. I wish you long life and prosperity. May God prevent you from Zamuto accident. And may God prevent you a lot from a lot of things. And in the midst of all that, there is this famous line that beggars use, Akoba, Adaba, Alamajari. I think that was what that pilot was a victim of. That pilot was just a victim of Akoba, Adaba. Because the truth is, anybody could have that moment. Even in the scriptures, it was reported that at some point, Christ himself had a moment where he lost it and went almost berserk. So, if Christ himself, a product of Immaculate Conception, God's chosen Son, could have that moment, who are we lesser mortals to be immune from that? Because the truth is, at that point in time, that pilot could have been dealing with anything. And that's why I tell people, be careful how you interact with people.
Yeah.
Be careful what you say to people, because at that point in time, you don't know what the person is dealing with.
Sure.
At that point in time, the pilot could have almost had it up to here with someone or something else that is totally unrelated to the Kwamon experience. And what was in her mind is, let me just get off the ground and leave this Abuja, and for now, let me just
Let's get
breathe.
this over with.
And then someone is coming, acting all Kwamwanish, throwing drinks at them allegedly and all that stuff, and then she snapped. Because the truth is,
another thing there is, she's a woman.
at this point, it's not. I refuse to look at the gender thing. If I look at the gender thing, Kwamwan also gets the axe, because it's, as a man, you do not attack a woman in any way. So if you could do that to a woman who you're not connected to, God knows the fate of the women around you. Wife, girlfriends, daughters, how physical does he get with them? But you could spill a drink on a professional, because the truth is, a pilot is, she's not exempted from the blame, but I think all of this could have been avoided if someone somewhere had done their job, and if the person in question had comported themselves well. So, at this point, I would say, before you leave your house every day, just pray for grace. That grace could save you, because sometimes we as human beings, we're faced with situations, and then you find out that you handled it differently, but maybe much later you feel like, I should have given it to this person hot.
But I think that brings us to my question.
If you had given it to that person hot, you don't know how hot it could have gotten.
For you.
For both of you. Because the truth is, in the heat of the moment, marriages have ended.
Yeah.
Kids' lives have been shattered.
Yeah, friendships.
People have ended up in prison because things got hot, you acted, you hit someone where you shouldn't have, or how you shouldn't have, and the person died, and Olokpa comes to carry you, and you end up in jail.
Yeah.
So the truth is, at any point in time, anything could happen.
You have to be careful.
You just have to be careful. And sometimes being careful just takes that grace.
You know that my motto is always good for this. Always be guided. Like I always say.
When you're saying your motto, I thought you were talking about the mall where I was parked in front of your house.
No, BLT. Okay. All right, now back to the question. Like I said, there was a question I asked was on my while we kicked off the program. I said, now let's look at this Kwam 1 situation and the pilot. That brings me to asking this question. Name 3 things that you would avoid in your life. 3 things to avoid in life. 3 things. So what are your 3 things that you avoid in life?
At this point, avoid Kwamon at the airport.
1, 2.
At this point. Watch your temper if you're a pilot.
All right. 3.
And at this point, avoid water from Lekki.
All right. You can call in to give your contribution. What are the 3 things to avoid